NBA Finals, Game 3. The Bucks won 120-100. Giannis, 41 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 14 for 23, 13 for 17 from the free throw line. The Suns were in that game in the third quarter, and then the Bucks just completely obliterated them about halfway through the third quarter. Middleton had 18. Holiday had 21, shot 5 for 10 from the 3. Booker was off, though. He had 10 points, 3 for 14, and Chris Paul had 19 points and 4 turnovers. And coming off Mikal Bridges' 20-point-per-game performance, he had 4 points.
Yeah, he was pretty quiet about that yesterday.
I mean, what am I going to say? Am I going to say Mikal was awesome? He wasn't. Giannis was dominating him whenever
That's
you saw him.
just the player he is. You're going to have those great games. You're going to have those poopers.
He's good, though. He's good. I think he'll
No,
bounce
but you
back.
threw it in our face when he had 27. You was like, Mikal.
But I would have too, so I can't blame
Because you guys told me that if you leave Mikal with a guy like Brook Lopez, he couldn't do that.
But then he followed up with 4,
exactly.
so it's
we
like...
said he could have a game. Could he do it for a series is what we said, and we said no.
He's not that guy.
We'll see. Booker was not that guy Game 3.
He hasn't been that guy in a while, but we'll
he
get
hasn't
into
been
that.
that guy since Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, we'll get into that, though.
The Suns
he cooked up Game 2, but go ahead.
The Suns shot 29% from 3, and the Bucks shot 39%. And the Bucks had 11 more rebounds, 47-36, and the Suns had 15 turnovers to the Bucks 9. This was all around a dominating performance by the Bucks. I was hoping the Suns would win so they go up 3-0. I have the Suns in 5 still. I think Devin Booker does not have a game like this again. I think he's going to come out better. And DeAndre Ayton, I'm not expecting him to get into foul trouble. Hopefully Scott Foster is not reffing the game because he is a douche. And every single time he refs for Chris Paul, he loses. He cost the Rockets to Western Conference Finals. I'll never forget that.
Oh, with that, KD was out of bounds, clearly.
No, Chris Paul has one.
That was a regular season game.
That was regular season game?
Yeah, James Harden hit the game winner, though, so it didn't matter.
I thought that was the
It was
playoffs.
clutch.
KD was out of bounds so bad.
Yeah, that hurts. Chris Paul's team has 1 win when Scott Foster's the...
But he didn't play
exactly.
I just don't get it with Scott Foster. If he has his track record with players not liking him, I don't know how he continues to ref big time games.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess
is he that good at his job? I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think.
I mean,
so.
the fact that he's had multiple opportunities, I'm going to assume the league thinks so, but you're
I think
right,
NBA refs in general are not that good though.
I'm blanking. Help me out. Referee that used to ref during like the Heat Spurs.
Talk about the bald white guy?
Yes. Because he got a lot of opportunities and people didn't like him either.
Joey Crawford?
Yes, that's exactly who it is.
That's the dude that gave TD a tech for laughing.
Yes.
That's him.
No, he was extra sensitive.
Scott Foster probably is the modern day Joey Crawford.
Mm-hmm.
Probably is that. Not even modern though, because they're not even that far within
Different
age.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of foul calls went the Bucks' way, but I'm not gonna say it was because of that. That's why the Bucks won, because Giannis was getting fouled. But I do think that with DeAndre Ayton there, he's not gonna dominate that much as he did, because once the Suns went with that small ball lineup, Mikal is too skinny, Cam is too skinny, Jay Crowder is not fast enough, and he can't keep up with Giannis. Their best guy from a physique standpoint, if they were to go small, that can do the best job on Giannis is Torrey Craig, and he can't do it either.
No.
Because of that, Giannis will probably continue to dominate. So the Suns have to make a decision. They have to either, A, let Giannis dominate and we just guard everybody else, or B, we're going to collapse on Giannis and force Middleton and Holiday and these other guys to hit their shots.
Well, I think that's what they did last game. And it just turns out that Holiday started hitting his shots. Middleton started to get it going, not just as a scorer, but also as a playmaker. And you just saw the team get together and kind of gel and ride behind Giannis when Giannis started dominating. You know, this is another 40-point performance he's had. So these last 2 games he's been imposing. He's starting to, dig into the paint. And I think this game we saw the Bucks get a lot of their opportunities in the paint, just dominating the paint, especially taking advantage with DeAndre Ayton, went out with all those fouls, dominating the paint. So I think overall, like you said, Devin Booker hasn't been the same since game 1 of the Clippers series. He's kind of been, his inefficiency has dropped tremendously. He's kind of been off. But I think with that being said, I think game 4 he's going to bounce back. He's one of those players where he's just missing shots. So I think he'll bounce back. But for this team, Milwaukee, to keep thriving, Giannis is going to be Giannis. Regardless if Ayton's out there, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder. It doesn't matter. Giannis is going to be Giannis, but it's the other guys. Can they step up? Can P.J. Tucker make those hustle plays like he was doing? Can Pat Connaughton make those big plays and key moments like he was doing last game? And Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton step up, playmaking, playing defense, hitting three-pointers. If they can do that, I don't really see. That's why I picked the Bucks winning in 6, because I think, with the supporting cast that he has, Giannis can definitely beat him, and then the other guys just follow suit, and they'll definitely win. But I think DeAndre Ayton, getting fouled out was also huge for them because they started dominating that zone. And Mikal Bridges, like you said, he's just too small. But I'm sticking to my, my pick. I think the Bucks win Game 4. I'm not a believer. I think this playoffs this year especially has shown us 2-0 means nothing.
Yep.
You can still lose a series and you're still not in the driver's seat. So I think I got the Bucks Game 4. I think that crowd was amazing in Game 3. They came and they showed out for that team. So I think I got the Bucks in Game 4. And Game 5 is going to be a tricky situation, but I think I don't know. Phoenix is loud. Yeah, Phoenix is loud though, so I don't know.
Right now, this is something I'm looking at Milwaukee, and I'm just thinking they have an advantage right now. They got a size advantage, and they have a health advantage right now. Right now, we thought going into the series that Giannis would be an issue right now with his hyperextended knee. We didn't know his health going into the series. But obviously, back-to-back 40-point performances, that doesn't seem to be an issue. He's imposing his will down low. He's hitting his free throws at home because the crowd gives him a break, and they're not counting to 10 faster than I could count to 20. Regardless of that, Giannis has been unbelievable. Faster than I can count to 2. They've been just on him, no doubt about it. But I look at Milwaukee, and they actually took advantage of the size advantage that they had. Obviously, ain't got into that foul trouble, but you said it. They led them in rebounds, especially when you get Giannis on a block on an island the way that he was that last game. It's impossible to stop him. And you mentioned how do you beat them? Do you crash on Giannis and let Middleton and Drew Holiday beat you? I don't think that you can stop them even if you want to crash on Giannis, because the way that Giannis is playing right now, you double him, you triple him. The refs are giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Scott Foster.
The refs are giving him the benefit of the doubt more often than not, but he's getting fouled, no doubt about it. He's getting that ball in the paint, and he's getting hand checked as soon as he touches the ball. They don't want him to get comfy down there. And listen, I get it. You don't want Giannis down low on the block getting comfortable, because then it's going to be a long night for you. But the way that Giannis is playing right now, as long as Middleton and Drew Holiday play the way that they played in Game 3, this series should definitely lean Bucks. And then you look at the way that you have Torrey Craig, who has been battling some injury issues. Sarge goes down with the ACL, so there's your guy who really could help you down low to bump and grind with Giannis and Brook Lopez. It's things right now that are just going against the Suns, and the Bucks need to take advantage of that. But the one thing that the Bucks have shown is game to game, you really can't trust that these guys are going to show up other than Giannis. But when they're home, these guys play at a different level. So I feel like going into Game 4, I really like the Bucks, especially the way that Giannis has been playing. I don't see anyone stopping him. And D-Book needs to get it together, because if D-Book doesn't get it together, the Suns will lose in 6. And as electric as the Phoenix crowd has been when they're home, the way that without D-Book, this team is a shell of themselves. And if D-Book's going to continue to shoot under 40%, they're not going to have a chance.
In 2015, there was a stat on Scott Foster that showed that during those playoffs, away teams were 13-0, and home teams were 0-13 on the games that he refed. And you have that stat with Chris Paul being 1-12 in the games that Scott Foster has refed. I'm just saying, Scott Foster.
This guy's going every angle
to
not give Milwaukee the credit.
Scott Foster has a history of being a corrupt referee, and I am not ruling that possibility out.
Interesting.
The Bucks outplayed the Suns, though. I'm not knocking the Bucks, and I actually want to talk about Giannis for a bit, because not on YouTube, but on TikTok, I'm viewed as this Giannis hater because I made a take that I don't think he could be the best player on a championship team. Obviously, that's not true because he's in the finals right now and he has a chance to win a championship.
For your boy.
But the premise of that video was not that Giannis can't win a championship. It was that his skill within the half court is limited, and he's not as skilled as these other players. I made that video in Game 2 of the playoff series versus the Nets after Game 2. To that point, Giannis had not had a signature playoff performance. Since then, he had one. He had a few against the Nets. Game 7, the most memorable one. The Hawks, I wouldn't say he had a memorable one there. But then in the finals, every single one of these performances have been memorable. 2 back-to-back 40-point games. He's averaging 34, 14, and 5 in the finals. He's been elite defensively. These playoffs, I think, are the start of Giannis's ascension into top 3 conversation. And I think every superstar player within NBA history has that one playoff run that solidifies them as a great. And I think this could be the one for Giannis. And he deserves it. 2015, they lost in the first round to the Bulls. 2017, lost in the first round to Toronto. 2018, lost to Boston in 7, the year they had no Kyrie. They lost to a rookie Jason Tatum and a second-year Jaylen Brown. 2019 blew a 2-0 lead against the Toronto Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals. If the Bucks win that series with the Warriors injured, they win that finals. Then in 2020, they got embarrassed by the Miami Heat 4-1 in the bubble. And now this year, their biggest test was the Brooklyn Nets, and they beat them in 7 games on the road in a game that went to overtime. I think this Bucks team throughout the years have shown that they are a resilient bunch, and Giannis has improved his game every single year. And from the regular season to the playoffs, Giannis's stats are very similar. He doesn't drop off. There's been a narrative that in the playoffs he doesn't perform. That's always been false because his numbers have always been there. I just want to say that this could be an all-time great playoff run for Giannis because he's playing phenomenal, and this could be the run that solidifies him as an all-time great. When we look back on his career, we say that was the year that he figured it out. He put it all together, and even with Holiday struggling, even with Middleton struggling, he's been putting the Bucks on his back and making sure they have every single chance to win. And that's not something that we've seen from James Harden in the playoffs. That's not something that we've seen from a lot of great players in the NBA in the playoffs. Giannis is doing it, 2-time MVP, and I think he's proving everybody wrong, including me, in these playoffs right now.
All right. There's a lot of takes that I just had to just.
Let's start with the first one because you think the Bucks wouldn't have beaten the Warriors had KD and Clay have been out.
I think you just, first of all, you can't say Clay get out because Clay played game 1. Clay got hurt.
Game 6. He got hurt in Game 6.
Well, he got hurt. No, he got hurt before.
He got hurt in Game 6.
He missed a game in the finals.
He missed a game in the final, and then he got hurt Game 6. It was a game he missed before
correct,
that.
Correct.
But I'm saying
that was the game Steph dropped like 40 or 50?
42.
Okay.
I'm not going to say. The only reason I kind of looked at you because you said they were definitely going to beat the Warriors. I don't know that because they would have had a different scheme for them, and playing Kawhi and playing Giannis is completely two different things. They have Draymond. They have a bunch of bodies they can throw at Giannis.
I don't know if they would have been able to
Kevon
stop
Looney?
him. That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying they have Iggy, Draymond. They can build a wall for Giannis.
Not
We
like
said
Toronto
that about
could've.
every single series so far, and it's not been the case.
That is true.
Draymond is too small for Giannis, and so is Iguodala.
People said that John Collins, Capella,
Draymond
that
is
didn't
not
happen.
too small for Giannis.
Yes, he is.
Draymond
He
is the
is.
Yes, he
same
is.
size as Kawhi Leonard.
It doesn't matter, though.
What do you mean
Kawhi
it doesn't
Leonard's
matter?
stronger.
Kawhi Leonard had help down low to defend Giannis.
Draymond is one of the greatest help defenders in life.
But he wouldn't have been the help. He would have been the primary guy. That's what you're saying.
No, I didn't. I said Iggy probably would have been the
So who
primary.
would have been the back line?
Draymond Green.
Okay, 6'7" Draymond would have been the back line.
We're really gonna
Toronto
put his height down.
Toronto had 2 7-footers. There's a big difference there.
Right
That's
now,
true,
we're
but
seeing
I-
that with the Suns.
that's true.
Obviously, it's
Well,
not
they
Draymond
don't have,
Green.
yeah, but I've seen Draymond put AD and Boogie in blenders. So I
Well,
don't.
AD doesn't have the mentality Giannis has.
Bro, in the playoffs, come on, bro. It's locking
He
him up
doesn't.
is still
we
a
know
difficult
AD
feat in itself.
Is
So
more
let's.
of a finesse player.
But it's still a difficult feat in itself to be able to guard a player like that. And even then, they had Eric Bledsoe.
When did Draymond lock up AD in the playoffs, though?
Pelicans.
No,
Pelicans.
Yeah, not
AD
really.
averaged
Yeah,
30.
He went
And
off.
this is why you're gonna throw up
on great efficiency.
No, you're gonna throw up just the blank number, but you're not gonna throw up the numbers when Draymond was actually guarding him.
Do you have him?
Nah, I
So don't mention him.
No, but I know the numbers, and it wasn't 30 because Draymond wasn't guarding him the whole time. But another
Obviously,
thing,
it wasn't.
another thing, you said Giannis has improved every year of his NBA career.
Absolutely.
I pull back on that because his skill is still something that we've challenged him on this year and even in the playoffs, because we've talked about how in the second round against the Brooklyn Nets, his skill was kind of being like we were kind of talking about how his skill kind of wasn't there. Even against Atlanta at points, his skill kind of wasn't there in the half court set. So I push back on that a little bit because his skill is still something that needs to improve. And you also said that Giannis has put them on his back consistently.
Yes.
But I remember in that Atlanta series when Giannis didn't play the last 2 games and Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday was the reason that they're in the finals right now. So you can't just say things like that without giving the credit, because Giannis didn't play the last 2 games. And Middleton went bananas and Drew Holiday went bananas. And if it wasn't for those two doing what they did, we wouldn't be talking about these 40-point games.
Did you mention how Trae Young was out for one of those games? Did you mention how Trae Young came back from the bone bruise?
No, I don't need to mention, because
yes, you absolutely do.
You didn't mention
Trae Young, Atlanta's not the same
You didn't mention
team.
Harden getting hurt or Kyrie getting hurt when he played the Nets. You didn't mention that. You kept it quiet. So why should I have to mention Trae Young?
Because there's a difference.
No, because you just said Giannis is about to be on an all-time great run. This, that, and the third. But you failed to mention that the Nets were up 2-0. Kyrie goes down. You didn't say a word about that. Then you failed to mention Harden didn't play. He had to come back, and he was on a grade 2, like you like to say, hamstring correctly, right? Grade 2 hamstring. He was playing like garbage, but because he was on a grade 2 hamstring. But you didn't say nothing about that. You also didn't say nothing when Trae Young went out and Giannis was in that series. You didn't say nothing about that either. You just kept it quiet. You just kept talking about Giannis. So why do I have to say something when, let's be realistic, Trae Young wasn't going to defend either Drew Holiday or Chris Middleton. So he wasn't going to stop them from having a bad offensive game. So why do I have to mention them? You didn't mention these other guys.
This is too easy for me. The reason why it's too easy for me is because you absolutely do have to mention Trae Young being out and playing on a bone bruise, which is so hard to play on. You can't even believe. Harder than a grade 2 hamstring, I believe. And I am under the assumption that Harden.
No, I'm not.
I am under the assumption that Harden was not telling the full truth. I am under that assumption. Trae Young is the Hawks' offense. You take him out, what do the Hawks have? They were relying on a Cam Reddish off an injury. The Hawks have nothing without Trae Young. He is their fuel. He is their engine.
But yet, they won a game without Trae Young.
They did. And Giannis went out that game.
That's true.
So they beat the same. Yes.
Did he go out? It was game 4.
I don't remember the game, but they both superstars were out.
Yep.
And the Hawks
they caught a game. They caught a
game.
game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just making sure we're on the same page.
The Nets still had Kevin Durant. With a space floor.
Oh, really?
But be honest.
Yes.
Wait.
Be honest in that situation.
With Joe Harris shooting like poor garbage?
He's still a great shooter. You still have to respect his shot.
Without Harden, without Kyrie, the Bucks weren't the favorites to win that series.
Heavy favorites.
You have to look at the Bucks being the favorites there. You have to. It's inexcusable if Giannis loses.
Wait. Before you answer that, answer these 2 questions.
Can I answer this first?
I just want to
I want to answer this first.
Answer
because you're gonna ask me something that's gonna probably bounce back off this. I said before this series started, Kyrie, KD, Harden versus the Bucks, it goes 7. I believe in the Bucks that much. I think we all had it going 7.
But you had the Nets
with
winning.
Harden and Kyrie out.
With Harden and Kyrie, you had
obviously the Bucks had to win that series.
I agree.
But we're not gonna sit around here and act like when they were up 2-0, nobody had the Bucks coming back.
I don't know about that. 2-0, both games in Brooklyn.
They were up 2-0. They dominated the Bucks. Though.
I'll tell you when
I thought the
game was over. When I thought the series was over.
Game 3 was close. Game 3 was
close.
Close.
When Milwaukee still looked flat at home.
Game 3 went on a run. Even before Kyrie went down, Game 3, Milwaukee was on a run.
It was 83-84, something like that.
Kyrie went out long before 83-84.
He did go out long before. I'm just saying, and the game itself was stagnant.
Right, and Joe Harris missed that. Right, okay.
I'm just saying that I was worried game 3. That's when I started to think, okay, maybe the Nets got it. Milwaukee really hasn't played that well. Then game 4, after they get the W, when they realize, okay, we can beat these guys. Then they started to play
And
like
KD
the normal
goes
Milwaukee.
bananas.
Then Game 5, KD absolutely goes crazy. Game 6, I mean, KD played amazing every single second that he was by himself, truthfully. But
Yes.
Game 7 was way closer than it should have been. Milwaukee should have closed out this series a lot easier than they did, especially with Harden missing time, especially with Kyrie being out. And the only reason that the Nets took that game was because they weren't ready for Harden to be the decoy. Harden being out there allowed the Nets to have no double team on KD and KD do whatever he wanted on an island.
I disagree.
So why do you say that? Because
they didn't double team KD because there are 40% 3-point shooters around him.
Who are shooting at a
they were doing
below average.
But that's why they didn't double
But let's
team
be
him.
honest, that was a bad no adjustment. You need to adjust on that. KD's killing you. These other guys aren't hitting shots.
Okay.
Double them.
Okay, you're right. You talked about adjustments. What does that have to do with Giannis? That's on Coach Bud.
My point being,
We're
you're
talking
saying
about
this
Giannis.
all-time great run. It's
Yes, he is on an all-time great run. Look at
he's
his
gotten
numbers.
a little bit luckier this run.